Hello, I'm Jason Barron. This video is going to be about the Alpine subrace of the European race. I'm going to read an excerpt from the book Race by John R. Baker. I'm not going to read every single bit of the chapter, but I'm going to read what I think is the most relevant. The Alpines subrace. The Alpines subrace has received many names. Most of them refer to districts in which this ethnic taxon is particularly well represented. The following have been used. Um, there's a couple of other. I think this is French. I can't pronounce it. Okay. So I'm going to read the ones that I can pronounce and do understand. Okay, the following have been used: Celto-Ligurian, Homo alpinus, Rhaetian, Alpo-Carpathian, Celto-Slav, and Slav. The confusion caused by the application of the name Celtic to this subrace will be mentioned in Chapter 15, page 269. In its most characteristic form, the subrace extends from now I know I'm mispronouncing this, from the Cevennes Mountains and Central Massif of France, through Switzerland, Bavaria, Austria, Slovakia, and southern Poland into Ukraine and other parts of Russia. It has been claimed that the most typical examples of all are to be found in Switzerland, in the valley of the Rhine, near its source, the Typus of Riker. The following are the characters by which the typical Alpinid may be recognized, and it makes references to various photos throughout the book. Primary characters. Primary characters. Skull. The typical Alpinid skull is markedly brachycranial, the average cranial index being about 85. The maximum breadth is far back on the parietals. The whole brain case is well rounded apart from a small flattened area immediately behind the oblivion, which is the region where the descent towards the occiput begins in this subrace. The brow ridges are scarcely marked. The forehead rises steeply above the orbits. Even in its narrowest part, it is remarkably wide in relation to the greatest breadth of the whole skull, and also in relation to the greatest distance between the outer margins of the orbits, i.e., the fronto biorbital index is very high. The height of the skull, Bayesian to Bregma, varies. In general, it is less high in the western part of the Alpinid range and higher in the eastern and more northerly part. Beyond the river Danube, the high skull seen in figure 28A is from Bohemia. The bizygomatic breadth, the extreme distance between the zygomatic arches is great, giving a wide face. The height of the face from Prosthian to Nasian is not low, but it is low in relation to the bizygomatic breadth. The upper edge of the orbit projects somewhat further forward than the lower when the skull is placed in the standard horizontal position. This character is weakly developed in the skull shown in figure 28A, which is typical in most respects. The orbits are widely separated. The nose is rather wide in comparison with that of most Euripids, commonly in the mesorine range, though tending to leptorini. The nasal bones project strongly. The face as a whole is orthognathous, but there is a slight tendency to prognathy below the nose, alveolar prognathy. This is well seen by comparing A and C in figure 28. The Norded skull C shows no alveolar prognathy. The palate is moderately wide. The gonial angles of the lower jaw project laterally. Internal organs other than skeleton. See comparison with Norded on pages 217 to 18. External characters. The stature of the typical alpinid is medium or rather short. Adult males averaging about 164 or 165 centimeters. The body build is thick set with short, thick neck, broad shoulders, deep chest, and short limbs. The characteristic appearance of the alpinid head is well shown in figure 29A, page 215, which represents Nikita Khrushchev. Marshal Zakharov, seen in figure 29B, is a more extreme example of the subrace. The general form of the head follows from that of the skull. Figure 29A shows well the high head typical of eastern members of the subrace. The great breadth of the brain case and face is particularly apparent in figure 29B. The face is low in relation to its width and is surmounted by a steep, wide, high forehead without noticeable brow ridges. The chin, too, is wide. The nasal profile of alpinids tends to be slightly concave, especially in women. The nose widens markedly below, and the tip, often upturned, is fleshy. The shape of the nostrils tends towards that shown in figure 27B, which is on page 210. Well, here on page 215, there's an example of uh, three alpinids and one nordid. Um, there's the skull shape, different skull shapes, and that was from pages 212 to 215. I hope you found this video educational, and I shall speak to you again soon.